Trump proposes U.S. takeover of Gaza and relocation of its population. What does it mean? President Donald Trump sparked widespread controversy on Tuesday with two explosive proposals regarding Gaza, leaving Palestinians, Israelis, and the broader Middle East grappling with the implications. During a White House press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump outlined two radical ideas. 1. U.S. takeover of Gaza. Trump suggested that the United States could assume control of the Gaza Strip, describing it as an opportunity to transform the territory into a prosperous region. "We'll own it. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. The Riviera of the Middle East," he said. 2. Relocation of Gaza's 1.8 million residents to other countries. "We should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and frankly bad luck," he added. Trump provided no concrete details on how these plans would be implemented. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt clarified on Wednesday that the U.S. has no intention of deploying troops to Gaza or funding its reconstruction. Instead, the administration would collaborate with regional allies to rebuild the territory. Trump's proposals were met with fierce opposition from Arab and Palestinian leaders, who have long envisioned Gaza and the West Bank as the foundation of a future Palestinian state. Hamas, the militant group governing Gaza, also rejected the idea, complicating ongoing ceasefire negotiations with Israel. The two sides have been exchanging hostages and prisoners following a 15-month war that has devastated Gaza and left its future uncertain. While some Israeli officials praised Trump's ingenious solutions, others expressed skepticism about the feasibility of his proposals. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert dismissed the idea as unrealistic, stating, "On the day that I will see American soldiers coming in great numbers to Gaza, I will then make up my mind how serious it is." Former Foreign Minister Shlomo Ben-Ami criticized Trump's lack of understanding of Palestinian history and identity, calling the plan utterly unrealistic. Israeli observers speculated that Trump might be employing a negotiating tactic known as putting in a goat, making an extreme demand to later appear conciliatory by scaling it back. This approach mirrors Trump's earlier Middle East diplomacy, such as when Israel shelved plans to annex parts of the West Bank in exchange for a U.S.-brokered normalization deal with the United Arab Emirates. Trump's statements serve a strategic purpose for Netanyahu, allowing him to appease ultra-nationalist allies who support expelling Gazans and have threatened to collapse the government if Israel does not resume military operations in Gaza. However, neither Trump nor Netanyahu committed to extending the ceasefire with Hamas, leaving observers to wonder if the two leaders have privately agreed to avoid reigniting the conflict. Trump's proposals have drawn sharp criticism from global leaders and organizations. Hamas called on Trump to retract his irresponsible statements, warning they would pour oil on the fire. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas rejected the plan, vowing to protect Palestinian rights. Saudi Arabia reiterated its commitment to a Palestinian state, and the United Nations emphasized that forced displacement violates international law. European leaders also voiced concerns. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy stressed the importance of a two-state solution, while Germany and France warned that expelling Palestinians would cause further suffering and breach international norms. In Gaza, where hundreds of thousands have returned to find their homes and livelihoods destroyed, reactions to Trump's proposals were mixed. Some expressed a willingness to leave if conditions improved elsewhere, but many vowed to stay despite the devastation. "Even if there was a place a million times better than Gaza, I would still live among the rubble here," said one resident. Nehad Gonaim, a surgeon in Gaza, echoed this sentiment, stating, "This is my homeland, and I have no intention to leave, even if Trump offers me the best of everything elsewhere." Whether or not Trump's proposals are viable, they have reignited debate over the once fringe Israeli idea of transfer, encouraging or forcing Palestinians to leave their land. A recent poll showed that about 70% of Israelis support relocating Gazans, though most Arab citizens of Israel oppose the idea. As the region grapples with the fallout from Trump's statements, the future of Gaza remains uncertain. While some see his proposals as a negotiating ploy, others fear they could exacerbate tensions and undermine efforts toward a lasting peace. As the debate over Trump's controversial proposals unfolds, the international community has not remained silent. Influential leaders and organizations worldwide have weighed in, expressing a range of reactions from cautious optimism to outright condemnation. The European Union has issued a statement urging restraint and a return to diplomatic negotiations. Meanwhile, the United Nations has called for an emergency session to address the potential human rights implications of such proposals. Human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, have voiced strong opposition, warning that forced relocations could lead to severe humanitarian crises. In a press conference, Amnesty International's Secretary General stated, "Any attempt to forcibly displace populations is a violation of international law and will only deepen the suffering of those already living under dire conditions." On the other hand, some allies of Israel have shown tentative support, viewing Trump's proposals as a bold move to break the long-standing deadlock in the region. However, these endorsements come with a caveat, emphasizing the need for any actions to be in line with international law and human rights norms. As global leaders continue to react, the world watches closely, aware that the decisions made in the coming days could have far-reaching consequences for the Middle East and beyond. The international community's response will undoubtedly shape the next chapter in this unfolding saga. In a significant political move, President Donald Trump has signed the No Men in Women's Sports executive order, barring biological men from competing in women's sports. The signing took place in the White House's East Room, surrounded by female athletes, in recognition of National Girls and Women in Sports Day. The NCAA has responded swiftly, with President Charlie Baker acknowledging the executive order as a clear national standard. Baker emphasized the importance of uniform eligibility standards across the NCAA's 1,100-member institutions, stating that the executive order provides necessary clarity on a national level. The NCAA Board of Governors is set to review the order and align its policies accordingly. Before signing, Trump underscored the logic behind the decision, stating, "This doesn't need to be complicated, it's just common sense. Women's sports should be for women. The war on women's sports is over." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reaffirmed the administration's stance, stressing that the executive order upholds Title IX protections. She stated, "The president expects the NCAA and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee to comply. This order sends a clear message: women and girls deserve a level playing field in sports." NCAA official Felicia Martin acknowledged the ongoing national debate, indicating that the Board of Governors is actively discussing next steps. She noted that without a national standard, individual states and institutions have been left to make their own decisions, and the NCAA expects further guidance from the White House soon. As the nation reacts to this executive order, the impact on women's sports and the broader political landscape remains to be seen. The future of sports participation policies is now under intense scrutiny, with both supporters and opponents voicing their perspectives. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe for more updates on this topic.